So today we are gonna make some hand sewn journals. I'm using this kit that I got at Blick's. It's the bookbinding kits by Kirkland, and I did a whole unboxing, but I lost the footage. So the first things to do these five whole pamphlet is pretty much make the five holes. So I just measured the middle, and then I started from there. I went, I think 3 or 4 centimeters in between each dot, and then I left some space at the top and the bottom. That's what they say that to do on the actual instructions, which I guess it makes sense because if you're like sewing it and it's too close to the edge, you can really like rip it and then it just ruin the whole thing. But yeah, after that, you're gonna go with the awl and make those holes, and you really have to like push yourself in and like twist it well to make sure you make those the actual hole. I mean, you're pushing through a lot of pages, so it can be a little bit hard. And I also realized that I make some holes in my desk, so and next time I will actually maybe put something underneath it just so I don't ruin my desk anymore. But moving on, I decided to go with the purple thread just so it makes some contrast with the actual cover and it will be easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. So yeah, and also when you are doing the five hole pamphlet, you don't do any knots in the beginning. That's gonna go at the end, and you're gonna see that once I finish sewing. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys enjoy this beautiful, badly recorded piece of sewing. All right, we are on the final one, the Japanese stab binding. So this one was quite a struggle. Mostly in when we started sewing it, I really struggle a lot there. And I just think it's because I couldn't understand what the instructions were saying. Like me and the instructions weren't getting along. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so the first thing that you're gonna do is measure the half of the pages, and then you're gonna start cutting them in half, and then you're gonna do the same thing for the cover, and then we're gonna measure 10 millimeters from the edge to do the holes. There are gonna be 4 holes that we're gonna do. We're gonna stop them again, and we're gonna start that beautiful sewing. I had to redo that 3 times because the first time, my audio got cut off, but the first time I put the thread even, like both ends evenly, just how they say in the instructions, and then I make a knot, like exactly how they say in the instructions. But I think they meant that you make a knot on one of the of the ends of the thread instead of like uniting them into like a loop. So yeah, I did that wrong, and I realized after I made the three first stitches because I didn't have enough thread to finish it. So yeah, I had to undo the knot and the whole stitches, and I didn't give up. I was about to, but then I didn't. I googled someone else like their process, how they begin that, like how they did that subbinding, and they did the same process that we did for the five hole pamphlet, and I tried to do that. But the beginning stage, what they did is that they they passed the needle through the first three pages. So so you have the loose end in between the pages. But here's the thing. When I finished and I tried to put my needle in between those three first pages, I couldn't because it was a tight stitch. I didn't want to lose journal, so yeah. It came undone sadly, and after that you're gonna see this whole process. When it comes undone, I have to redo it. I was about to give up again, but I persisted for you guys, you know. And so I did the knot on one end, just how they said in instructions, and I couldn't understand for the life of me what they meant to finish it off. So I tried to do that, but I would highly recommend to do the same square knot that we did on the five hole pamphlet, but instead of putting it in between the pages, I would just leave it on the top cover. So in that way, it will be easier to make your final knot and finish your notebook. right, we finally made it. Finally finished. I only make two. I know this is a kit for three notebooks. Like you can make three journals with this kit. And I just have the other one for a rainy day. After I finished this one, I was already over it, and I just wanted to get done with everything. I did okay, so I did enjoy some of the process, but I also was kind of focused on getting done some videos, some content for social media. So I felt like I needed to hurry up for the pressure, but the process wasn't so bad. Like it was quite enjoyable. This one was easy to do. I made it in less than half an hour. It's so easy, especially like this 15 page. Really simple. Just you fold the pages and you fold the cover, make those dots, those holes, and it's easy to sew. It's quite a simple. I mean, you already watch it, so. But yeah, and the knot here, perfect. It was easy to do. I really like this square knot, and I added a little bow because I remember I did and one journal in from one of the college classes. It was like a preset way to another project. So the professor just wanted us to do some hands-on um, journal, and you can tell that this is a Japanese binding, which you'll think that since I already did that, I wouldn't have so many troubles doing it a second time, but I guess that's not the reality. Anyways, I remember I did this one. I saw it twice because the first one I did it too loosely compared to this one, which I did it three times. Like I prefer, I'll say, doing the square knot just like how we did here on the five hole journal because it's simpler. I remember now watching like remembering what it is from here. I remember that when you instead of doing it in half the page or doing a knot, we just had the loose thread here, put a tape on it, and then when we finished, we just did the same thing that we have done here. But instead of putting it putting the thread in like the three first pages to then go back again and then the knot in the middle um or how we did in the end with a little knot in this part of the pages. Instead of doing that, you have the thread here and then you do the knot and everything on this first part on the cover. And I do prefer that because it's easier to do. I also think it looks cute, like the little bow here looks more personal, a nice touch. And this is different than the ones we make with the kid and stuff because it's with um the actual like cover cards, heavyweight cover cardstock, I think it's called, which is more like a actual thick cardboard kind of material, but not like in the heavy duty for package type of cardboard, more like a compressed cardboard, I will say. But yeah, this I'll show you this notebook. We did it this size. We have here a thin piece of that heavyweight cover material, and then here like the longer one. And when you glue it, you have to make the dent with the awl, with the bone to be able to do this, right? Which makes sense. And I remember we have to individually do the same thing for each page after we glue it, or I think it was after or before. Sorry, after before sewing it. I think it was before. No, after. So we went with the awl and then we just mark the pages and then mark here. So when you use it, it will actually be easier to be flat. Until something I get to it later in a minute. And yeah, this is just some marble paper I did. I used some bright colors. was part of the lesson that we would make some marble paper, and I really like it. It was a fun project to do. And now let's get to the Japanese binding from the instructions of the skit. It's the one that we just followed. Um, they were confusing. I'm gonna say that. So here it wasn't that confusing because you have the pictures. But the beginning with the knot, this part messed me up. Because the first part they said put the thread evenly and then tie the knot. So I tied it together to make one thick like piece of thread, and I sewed it in, and then I just got like half of it. You need more than half of the book. And then I remember what this is. I remember what this is wrong. I went ahead and untied the knot, separated all the thread. Awful, it was a mess. Then I remember how to do it, and I went again. I watched a tutorial, and that person, so probably just one. I think I probably already talked through it with this, but anyways, with the middle, with the thread, and then we were supposed to like thread it in between the pages. But this part, it's already too tight because I'm like sewing it tight so it's not loose. So that was impossible. And then I just like the thread came undone, and then I had to redo it this time, and then I just made a knot. And then I went ahead with how the instructions said it, with what I understood. Yeah, confused. And as you can tell, this is what my knot looked like. When I finished it, I just made a knot in between. Like you have to like to finish it, you were supposed to like thread in between this area, and like I couldn't insert my needle in between this part anymore because you already went already so many times. Like here you have like you can tell like 3 times or more because you also have the like knot. So I couldn't like put it in between and do that whole thing that they were talking about. So I just ended up like doing like a sewing it in between these 2 threads and making a knot. And that's how I finished it. Hopefully it will last some time. So that was an issue I had with those instructions. And I will say that it will be better if you just put the thread here and then just went inside, insert it down and then around and start your stitching like how I did here. And then once you finish, you can just do a square knot. That's way easier and still secure like this. You can this is not going anywhere. So yeah, I will, if I were to do this one again, I will do that method instead of this. Also, I would, before sewing it, since we already marked it with a line to make the dots, I will also, with my ruler, before making the holes and stuff, I will mark it with my bone so it will actually lay flat. Instead of like this, it will actually be able to lay flat because this doesn't really want to bend that much. So it's not really that comfortable to use. You have to bend it after and like to force it. And the instruction doesn't really tell you to do anything. So yeah, I would just, before I were to do this again, I would, before making the holes, bend it with my my bone. I would just mark it with my bone where I wanted this to be able to bend, and do that with the pages as well on the back cover. Just so when you're using it, it's easier to do. And I will do this again, like this type of, I will do this method as well. So in that way, because in that way it will be more enjoyable. And I mean, we put all this work and not be able to use it, it's kind of like silly. So yeah, that's all my thoughts. I do like that the kit comes with pretty much all the things that you need. I did find the thread to be a little bit weird. Like this thread is more cottony, and we have to wax it. When we make it, like you can tell it's more of like a cotton thread. I will also, I think I might with a lighter burn these edges. Same with these ones as well, just so they don't poke more. Maybe I'll cut it more and then burn it, just so they don't like fray or anything. But this thread, it feels like paper. Like you make paper into a thread. It's just not like, it's weird. It's like paper mache. Sorry, paper crepe. You know what I'm talking about? Hopefully. Kind of late. But yeah. I know that's the only. Those are my thoughts. That's my only issue with the whole kit. So yeah. Um, if you like, if you're looking at it and you wanted to buy it, I would buy it just to have the supplies and kind of like the knowledge just to do it at first, like because you can keep those instructions, so it will be easier. I would just, I mean, maybe I just read it wrong. If you understand when they explain the Japanese binding on those instructions, then by all means use that. But if not, you can write my instructions with that. You can like put it together or something, just so you remember. I don't know what I'm rambling about. But yeah, so it is a worth to get. It wasn't too expensive, just $15, and you get to make three bound notebooks or three what they say, handmade journals, which, and you get kind of like the experience, the practice to do it. So it's nice, and you kind of get everything already pre-done, pre-cut, so you don't have to worry about cutting paper, which is also pretty nice. And yeah, so that my only issue was with the instructions explaining this one. It could just be that sometimes I get confused with more of the writing style, and I'm more of a visual person. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Um, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got entertained. I hope you make some journals. It was quite a lot. So yeah, I hope to see you on my next video as well. Hopefully it's soon. And yeah, bye.